four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
And a happy Monday to you. Welcome to Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule as he is out snobby golfing again today. Jeez. That Neil Rule lifestyle, man. It's next level.
Must be nice.
It's next level. And of course, the big man, Spencer Raxter, the only guy that could fill in for D-Mac's chair because I'd say outside of D-Mac, you're probably the toughest guy here at Woodward, right?
I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like I hold that title. You know, one time I am basketball champion at MSU, so.
Ooh, the one time.
One time. Hey. Yeah, I don't have the 4, but it's close enough. Got to start somewhere.
So Spence moving out of the booth onto the desk today, and then of course we got Sam Flannel in the sound booth, and then the one, the only Michael Gentry looking sexy over there in the TD booth. Yeah. Put that camera on yourself,
Give it
Michael.
Up for Mike. Look at this guy.
And look at the security.
Booth, yeah.
I got my security guard.
The security's right behind him, so
Beautiful.
there you go. Lots to talk about over the weekend. I mean, it was a good weekend. Riley Greene showed up.
Yes.
A couple of the Tigers. Baez showed up. And yesterday, I know I watched it live, or not live, but as they first played it on ESPN. D-Mac was a big part of Unrivaled, the E60 documentary on the Colorado Avalanche versus the Detroit Red Wings. And man, what a cool documentary that they put together. And Woodward Sports got a little bit of love during it because they recorded a lot of the commentary that they used from Claude Lemieux was from that event that we threw at Fifth Avenue in Royal Oak. But when I was watching this, man, all I could think of is we're so lucky to have D-Mac on this team because there is no better teammate in the history of the world than Darren McCarty.
Oh, no, I see it every day. You know, I feel it every day. He loves being here. He loves being with us. Big teammate, big family guy, and you got that sense. Like, I was 1 year old when that happened, so I didn't really get the full experience of the brawl at the Joe, but seeing how they're still so into it, how Draper is still so, like, I was glad to see Claude turtled, was one of the quotes from Draper during that. That was just amazing. These guys are so intense 25 years later after this happened. You could tell that it really It brought them together so much as a family, as a team, and then obviously everything that happened with Vladdy after.
Right.
That was so heartbreaking, and to see him on there was something else too.
Yeah, I thought that part was really touchy, but you know, we go back to like D-Mac and the whole Colorado Avalanche. Obviously, they secured their Stanley Cup last night, and I got ramped up again about my hate for the Colorado Avalanche yesterday watching Unrivaled, and then to watch these. I'm not going to swear. Then to watch these dudes skate off with the Stanley Cup last night, I was like, man, it's just something didn't sit right, that it wasn't Red Wings in that situation. We had to watch these clowns do it. But you brought up a great point because we were all kind of going back and forth in the group chat. I think it was Nick Leach made a graphic with Darren Helm, and it was showing him holding up the cup as a Red Wing and then him holding up the cup as an Avalanche. And I'm still hating on the Avalanche. I'll never like them. But you brought up a great point about D-Mac, and what'd you say?
Yeah, I said if D-Mac can sit down with Claude Lemieux for a couple hours, we can be happy for Darren Helm winning another Stanley Cup, even if it's with the Avalanche. Like, it's, you know, obviously you got those rivalries. They still burn deep, but Darren Helm was our guy. I loved Darren Helm when he was here, so I'm happy for him to get that chip.
Yeah, I'm just petty like that, man. Like, that's why Darren McCarty's a better man than I am, because he's already forgiven them. I wasn't even a part of that equation, and I still, I have this visceral hate for the Colorado Avalanche, and when I see just that logo, it's like, all right, I don't hate any team in hockey like I do them, and the fact that they won last night, just after watching Unrivaled, just drove me insane.
But it's also the parallels of the Red Wings and the Avalanche franchises, especially now. You look at it, Joe Sakic, Steve Yzerman, D-Mac says they're like left and right side of a coin. You know, they're the same player, same guy, but totally opposite in the same way. And the Avalanche were the worst team in the NHL 5 years ago, and they're hoisting up the Stanley Cup this year. The Red Wings were the worst team in the NHL statistically 2 years ago. So I'm not saying anything, but if we follow that track record, we might be hoisting up Lord Stanley in short order.
Well, and there's not only that trend. There's a trend that when Colorado wins the year after, usually the Red Wings do.
There we go.
It's happened twice in history, and one time it was, they repeated back-to-back after Colorado won. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's a good omen for us, but the timing of it yesterday was just the release of Unrivaled. I was just like, man, come on, man. And hopefully there's some Red Wings that watched Unrivaled and then watch those guys win a Stanley Cup and are like, all right, it's our turn now. We know what we need to do. We know the intensity that we need to play with, and they capture it coming up this year.
I do think that is what happened. I think that's good for those young guys, for even the prospects, the Evansons, the Soderblooms, Kosas, these guys, they can see what that meant.
Right.
They can see, because they were so young, they weren't even born before that happened, and now they can see when the Red Wings were a dominant franchise, what it meant to battle with another team like that, to have that hate, to have that disgust, and battle with those guys for championships, having championships on the line every year when you have those two teams contending. So it's just a good sign for the future. It's a good thing to show the young guys.
Right.
Whoever the coach is, whoever we sign as the head coach, should play that on his first day and have all the young guys watch it intently.
I miss those types of rivalries, man.
Yes.
I feel like we haven't had Armani and I talked about this when I was filling in for the Bottom Line. Like, none of our teams are good enough to have rivalries right now, because that's where the rivalry comes in. They met in the playoffs, the cheap shot. Then they get it together and they meet in the playoff. It's just, you need that type of competition back and forth, and I just miss that for Detroit right now. And hockey back then was just different,
yes.
right? Like, they allowed you to build these evil characters, and they allowed it to go. And Darren McCarty knees the dude in his head on the boards and doesn't even get kicked out of the game, and comes back and scores the game winner. Do you think hockey should get back to that, or do you like the way hockey is now? A little bit cleaner, less narratives, I feel like
that's how all sports are trending, is they're trying to clean it up. Everybody wants offense, offense, offense. We saw that in the Stanley Cup Finals with all those goals being scored, even with Vasilevsky in net, who's one of the best goaltenders of all time. You still have 7 goals hung up on him in one game. But I like hockey grittier like that. I like these guys fighting multiple times a game. I like to see those brawls out there. I like guys scrapping for a 2-1 win. I think that's what hockey is. I think that's what makes hockey great, is the grittiness and the physicality. But everybody likes offense. Everybody likes goals. So I think that's where it's trending.
Yeah, and I also think just people are afraid to be the bad guy anymore, right? Like, it used to be celebrated if you were the guy. Like Bill Lambier said it during the Bad Boys 30 for 30. Like, hey, they wanted us to wear the black hat, and I was more than happy to do it. There are many guys in sports nowadays that will mess up their endorsement money by being the ass.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think off the top of my head right now, who is a villain?
It's like Trae Young has kind of taken on that villain persona
in New York, but not here, right?
No, it's
there's
tough.
no true villains. There's no hated athlete anymore.
Yeah, it's also because this is the era of player empowerment in different sports, to where you can be on one team one year and then request a trade and go somewhere else the next year. So you don't want to kind of make a fan base hate you, or make different players hate you, because you might be playing with them the next year. So
right.
It's definitely tough. You do need that more, though. That drives narratives. When you have that one guy, that Trae Young, that Aaron Rodgers, that Joe Sakic, Claude Lemieux, that you hate, that just makes you, as a fan base and as a team, I feel like, get together for the hate, and it empowers your passion.
Yeah, well, look at a movie, right? A movie always has the bad guy and they have a good guy.
Yes.
We're watching a bunch of sports right now without the bad guy. So that'd be like watching a bad movie, And so, there needs to be some villains. There needs to be people that are willing to get people upset, willing to get them angry. But like I said, it's 2022. Cancel culture's amongst us. You got to be careful with what you say. You got to be careful who you offend, because it's going to mess with your money down the road, and everybody wants to protect the money.
If Stevie Eisenman signed me to a minimum contract, I'll be the villain. I'll go out there and cross-check Sidney Crosby in the back of his head. I'll do whatever you need me to do.
Yeah, God, I'm really trying to rack my brain for somebody that, even a Ron Artest was a villain.
Brad Marchand. Tammy Chin's guy, Brad Marchand's kind of a villain.
Yeah, he's more they're just more antagonists now.
Yeah.
They're not hated.
Yeah, I hate Patrick Beverley.
You got a lot of information in that brain. Who do you think right now is a villain in all sports, not just hockey?
God, you guys are right. I can't really think of one. I mean, some people would consider a guy like Tom Brady, just because he's kind of had this dominance for so long. Maybe even a LeBron for some people. But as far as a villain, I mean, I know you don't like Patrick Beverley, Spencer. Is he a villain, though? It doesn't exist. It's not
Draymond.
Draymond's
Draymond's probably the biggest villain in all of sports right now.
And he was such a dick at the parade, which like made it even worse. Yeah, Draymond's actually a good one, but sports just isn't like that. Like there's no narratives, there's no villains. It's more just about playing the game. And when you watch last night's Unrivaled, you're like, wow, that's how sports used to be. I mean, I was really young back then. I didn't really understand. It was incredible. But now I can't even think of a villain. Not one.
Jake Paul is a villain.
I was like, yeah.
And honestly, but that's why he's making so much money.
Yes.
Like if we break it down and really think about it, like he's created a lane where there hasn't been one for a while by being that villain. McGregor's kind of a villain in some aspects, I guess, if we're talking UFC. So like fighting still has him a little bit.
Fighting's different though, because that's what you do. You know, you can talk about villains in fight. Colby Covington is like that too. He's the guy that's going to talk crap about your family, about whatever you need. But it's different with team sports, because fighting, individual sports like that, you got to kind of be the villain to try to get in your opponent's head. You know, you're going out there in the ring, in the octagon, and you're trying to take this dude's head off for 3 to 5 rounds. So it's easy to be the villain in fighting, let alone individual sports.
Yeah, there just hasn't been one in Detroit literally like since Claude Lemieux. Yeah. I mean, think about like they were talking about police escorts that they needed in this documentary, that he wouldn't bring his family to the city, that they were afraid to go out to eat when they were in Detroit.
Yeah.
That, you know, like
D-Mac said, "Welcome to Detroit." I loved it.
Dude, D-Mac was phenomenal in that. Like just how like clear and crisp he was in all of his messages and just how stern he was. But yeah, Claude Lemieux was hated in this city, I think, more than anybody else for any competitive team that we'll ever see again.
Yeah, definitely. You know, who are you going to, even in history, who are you going to put up against him? Michael. You know,
Michael
Larry
was hated
Bird,
because of talent, not because he was dirty.
Yeah,
right?
You get Larry Bird, different players like that.
McHale was a little bit dirty.
McHale was hated. It is Claude Lemieux. It is Patrick Waugh. Like those guys are some of the most hated figures in the history of Detroit sport.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't got a chance to check out the documentary, please do it. It's up on ESPN Plus, and I think ESPN is replaying it today. But check it out. Darren McCarty is in it a ton. Like I said, you know, Woodward Sports. You'll see our logo up on the stage, and you'll see it on the mic and all that good stuff. So it was a really cool experience to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And it's just neat to see that story being told, because like you said, you were 1 year old, right? Mm-hmm. Did you learn a lot during that documentary that you really didn't know beforehand?
Yeah. I mean, I knew all the history of it before that, but when you see that, you see the passion on, like I said, on their faces still to this day. Right. And that's what really struck me, is that these guys still like get worked up about this, and that's how you know how passionate of a rivalry it was, how important of a date that was. So.
Right. And someone's saying, I do find it hard to believe that to this day Chris Draper hates Claude Lemieux. But he said Lemieux didn't apologize yet, which is crazy to me, because during that interview, he was saying that was he wished he could take that moment back. So I don't know why he hasn't picked up the phone and just tried to settle this debt, if that's still like the overhanging thing, because that's what they focused on during the documentary. Especially
now, because he's Mo Sider's agent. Right. Chris Draper's in the Red Wings organization. You got to think they have FaceTime at least a couple times a year. So, like, come on, man. Yeah. Just do it.
Well, great documentary. D-Mac, you're the man. We were talking about it before.
Love you, D-Mac.
We're so lucky to have him working here at Woodward Sports, because there is no teammate in the world like Darren McCarty. So make sure you check that out. And speaking of new teammates, the Pistons got some.
Yes, they did.
And the national pundits seem to think this draft is pretty damn good. So we're going to discuss who's new on the Pistons, that draft, and all that good stuff coming up next right here on the Woodward Sports Network. But first, let me tell you about our people at Guardian Alarm. Do I got Guardian or you?
I got Guardian.
Tell them, Spence, so you're the ex-security, right?
I am, and you need a good defense, and so Guardian Alarm keeps you safe and gives you peace of mind. Whether you're home or on the road, call their 24/7 local monitoring. Make sure what's important to you is safe. So call 1-800.
Stay out.
Again, that's 1-800.
Stay out.
Sam, I want everybody in Lady Jane's to hear what to call. You call 1-800.
Stay out. Get out of my house.
Call them right now. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you. This is Big D Energy. We'll be right back.
Hi, Diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Chili peppers tanning. It's summertime. You want to look good. You want that bronze tan, and there's no better place to do it than Chili Peppers Tanning. And join the Pepper Club. While you're there, you get all types of perks. We were just out at their brand new location in Harrison Township, Boat City, USA. And there's a Chili Peppers Tanning near you. They got the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans at Chili Peppers Tanning, baby.
Chili Peppers Tan.
Butt crack full of sand. I love that. They've had that in their jingle for so long, and it just flies under the radar.
It's classic.
The Pistons draft was rated very highly nationally.
Yes, it was.
Last year, during the draft, we went back and watched the draft party, and I think it was me, Easy, and who else was on? I think it was Kool-Aid when we drafted Cade. And we were all like, we're going playoffs, baby. This is a playoff team now. Did not quite work out that way.
No.
So how are you feeling about the potential for this team now that it's assembled? Cade coming into his second year. Got Jaden, Ivey.
Yes.
Got Jalen now. What are you thinking?
I think this is a play-in team. This is a team that should be your goal, is the play-in tournament. This is the best draft the Pistons have had in 20 years. By far. The last draft that you can say that is as good as this draft is when they drafted Lindsey Hunter and Allen Houston.
Really? You think so?
Yes, in 1993.
So you think this is better than the Killian Hayes, Sadiq Bey,
Yes.
and Beef Stew?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
All right.
Because I think Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren were two of the top 10 talents in this draft. They were the two highest rated guys on Troy Weaver's board.
That's
the two
awesome.
guys he wanted the most, and he got both of them. And the only thing that we gave up was Jeremy Grant and $2 million for Kemba Walker. So this is just an amazing draft. Like I said, other than the Lindsey Hunter, Allen Houston, if you could put it above that, you'd have to go all the way back to John Sally and Dennis Rodman in '86 to a draft that's as good as what they just did. And I think with the depth they have, they're going to get another piece or two in free agency. With the rotation they already have, this is going to be a play-in team. We're going to be looking at that, probably 8, 9, 10 seeds, somewhere around there. We're going to be fighting for the play-in tournament, and I'm really excited. I'm happy to have some meaningful games late in the season at Little Caesars Arena.
Yeah, last week after the draft, Jeff and I did the Friday show, and I was just talking, I think you guys are starting to get a feel of what it's like to win, right? And what it's like to build a winner, because this kind of has 2001, 2002 vibes to me.
Yes.
Right? They're starting to build, and what that team had to go through is they made it to the playoffs. They got bounced by the Celtics, and they continually got bounced by the Nets. And we're going to experience that growing process. It's not going to be easy, right? They're going to get into the playoffs, hopefully this year, but I wouldn't expect a win in the playoffs yet. But those types of losses are growing losses.
Yes.
As long as they're competitive in the playoffs, not like we have been just getting in only to be swept by the Bucks. That doesn't teach you anything. That doesn't get you anywhere. And those teams were just built different because it was built around tailing off veterans who weren't getting better. We were just trying to tread water with them. Now, every loss in the playoffs should be a learning experience for a Cade Cunningham, a Sadiq Bey, Jaden Ivey. This is a good place for this team to be. Sam, I see you getting itchy over there. What you saying?
And not only the draft picks, a lot of the players from last year you expect to have to take a step forward, like Cade Cunningham, for example. He wasn't great the whole year. What made his rookie season great was how he finished in March. And you think maybe he was getting his legs out in front of him, and maybe what he did in March is what he's always going to be. Sadiq Bey, I look for him to improve. He had too many cold stretches, but if he can get kind of rid of those, that would be great. And a guy like Marvin Bagley, a full season in Detroit. He played the best basketball of his career in Detroit. So I'm thinking that will also be something that can maybe help the Detroit Pistons maybe make the play-in tournament. I think that's their ceiling.
Their ceiling. Okay.
Definitely.
Well, and that's saying as the team sits right now, we don't know what free agent they're going to bring in, and they could bring in a max guy, and I think we're going to talk about that coming up later on in the show. But yeah, the Pistons are in good shape.
Yes.
They're heading in the right direction, and if I'm a betting man, I'd go to my bookie right now, and I would bet that they're making the playoffs this year.
I would too. I don't know. Playoffs are going to be tough. There's still a lot of teams that were at the bottom of the East playoffs. They're going to be tough to jump. You're looking at the Cavs, you're looking at the Hawks, you're looking at the Hornets. These are all good teams with good young players that already proved that they can win 40-plus games in the NBA. So that's still a lot to ask of these young Pistons. But what the Pistons did in the draft, they went from last year being not so athletic. Like, your most athletic players were Diallo and Bagley, and now they are one of the most athletic teams in the NBA. They're looking to pick up Diallo on his option. It's likely that they do that. They added Jalen.
Yeah, I think they did over the weekend. They announced that they were going to.
They said they were likely to do it. Yeah, so I don't
and
know
Corey
if they
Joseph,
have
they're
already.
not picking up his
Corey
option.
Joseph is a player option, so he's in.
Okay.
He's buying. So if we, trade him, or I don't want Corey Joseph to get more than 5 minutes a game. I hate Corey Joseph so much. That guy is a bum.
You can't hate him.
I hate him. He's a bum. He should not be on our team. We should trade him for a dishwasher. Like, I don't want him at all. But they added Jaden Ivey. They added Jalen Duren. They still have Hammy. And those are 3 freak athletes. And then you look at some of the free agents we could possibly sign, like you said, we'll get to that later, to add more athleticism to this team. This team is going to be dangerous in the full court, in fast breaks, and in offense like that. When you had the core of your team last year being Cade Cunningham and Saddiq Bey, who aren't the most athletic guys. They're not going to wow you with their freak athleticism. They're more finesse, skill guys. And then you add, like I said, a Jaden Ivey and a Jalen Duren to that, who are just going to put so much pressure on the rim, put so much pressure in transition on defenses. It's going to be great. It's going to add a whole new element to this team. Cade's going to average 3 more oops a game where he just tosses it up there.
Right.
Somebody catches it and yams it. It's going to be awesome.
And just how they can get out in transition with their athleticism. And I misspoke. It's not Corey Joseph that they're not re-signing. It's Frank Jackson. That's who I saw that they weren't re-signing.
Yes.
So thank you guys in the chat for keeping me on point with that. I got my point guards confused. But to Sam's point, he was talking about how this team should just grow and get better. I love that, and I feel that too, but we had that same exact conversation about the Tigers going into this season, didn't we?
Yeah, we really did. I think it's different. Obviously, it's different in basketball because you have coming out, you go right into the league. You're not going into a farm system. If you're a good player, good talent, you're going right in the league, and you can make a difference that year. And I think Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren are difference makers that can come in and between them give us an extra 7, 8, 9 wins.
Yeah, but it wasn't just about the rookies. It was about the guys who played last year. And we're expecting Cade Cunningham to take another step, right? We're expecting Saddiq Bey to continue his three-point shooting and take another step, maybe add something else to his game. So if the coaching staff is there and these guys are continuing to grow, yeah, we're definitely on the right path. But I learned my lesson this year with the Tigers. It's like, hey, they had a great end of the second half of the last season. Like, they should be trending up, and then here we are talking, what was it, in April, they were already out of the playoffs.
I mean, the Pistons, though, they're so young. When you look at guys like on the Detroit Tigers, like Jonathan Scope, Jamer Candelario, is that really outside of the realm of possibility that they would fall off a cliff? With guys like Cade Cunningham, this is his second year.
Yes.
He is going to take a big leap, especially with how he finished last year. Saddiq Bey, I think he's going to take a leap. Like I said, he could get crazy hot but crazy cold. He has to work on that. Marvin Bagley, he played 28 games for the Pistons last year. I think 28. He's going to have a full season if we re-sign him. That can only be good. He played the best basketball of his career, so I think there's a lot more hope for the Pistons than there was for the Tigers. That Tigers collapse, I think, was more predictable.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the tempo this team plays with, too.
Yes.
Like, that's going to be night and day from last year. And, we were talking, even if they add another shooter or two to give Cade more space driving the lane, and then we can get the ball out in transition, throwing lobs to Bagley and, of course, Duren. Like, I'm excited for Pistons basketball again. I know I'm drinking the Kool-Aid just like I did last year, thinking we were going to make the playoffs with Cade, but it's just nice to have these positive conversations, and we're not talking about how we screwed up another draft, even though we haven't seen those guys on the court yet. Like, it's not just us saying that.
Yes.
It's the nation saying that, which is important.
It is important, and it's important that Troy Weaver did it again. You know, Troy Weaver did it again. He struck gold again in this draft. And I love the fact that we're so young and we're so athletic, because who we have in place, we have Dwayne Casey in place. And Troy Weaver has said it on multiple occasions that there is no person he would rather have coaching in this position than Dwayne Casey. Like, Dwayne Casey, he's all about building guys, you know, improving from last year, making these young guys adapt. And we saw it. We saw it with Sadiq. If you would have told me Sadiq Bey would score 51 points in a game when we drafted him, I would have told you you're nuts. But he came out there, he did it, he improved. We saw his offense improve. I know Cade Cunningham is going to shoot better from the field and from the three-point line next year. So I'm just excited. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid too. It's hard not to when you get such a good draft like that.
I know, man. And if all things work out, they will be making the playoffs. And yeah, there was a car accident right here on Woodward, right in front of us. There's fire trucks and everything out there. So if you're hearing that in the background, that is what's going on. It's not because they're in here trying to put out Spencer's hot takes.
Yeah, hey, no, it's, you know,
fire takes.
Fire takes. Get Corey Joseph out of here. Get Kelly Olynyk out of here. I don't want those bums on my roster.
And I am really interested to see what they do in free agency as well. And we're going to talk about that coming up next right here on the Woodward Sports Network. But first, let me tell you about my people at Big Boy. And I'm telling you, over the weekend, you know, you wake up on a Sunday morning, you're like, man, that was a rough night. What can I eat for breakfast? You can eat everything for breakfast. That's why the buffet is back at Big Boy. Scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage links. They have healthy stuff in there too, like yogurt and fruit and pancakes and all that stuff. So you can go there, get your buffet on, and assault it like Maz does. Big Boy buffets are back. Go get them.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule today. That is Spenmo Rax, or Spencer Raxter as we call him, or the donut-eating champion, who was out at the greenhouse at Walled Lake and absolutely destroyed the competition this weekend.
Got him out of here. Yeah, it was beautiful.
How long was the donut-eating competition?
60 seconds.
And how many did you eat?
I had 15.
15 donuts in 60 seconds.
Yes, and they were dry.
Is that possible?
It was. I got it done. I had Braylon coach me up.
That's 4 seconds per donut.
Supporting me.
4 seconds per donut.
4 seconds per donut. Got it done.
You are an absolute house,
man. It was beautiful. I donated the money to the Ronald McDonald House, Detroit.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I was happy. It was fun. It was a fun time. Appreciate Jerry and the guys at the greenhouse in Walled Lake. They hooked us up with a lot of different goodies and stuff coming back too. So that the next day, you know, I was toast. But it was a lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad you went out there and represented Woodward Sports, because if we enter anything, we don't enter to lose, right? So you set the bar now for everybody in the back that's watching right now. Everybody that works for Woodward Sports. When we enter any competition, Spence has set the bar. We have to win. Otherwise, it's a complete failure.
We're playing for keeps.
Right.
We play to win the game.
Hello. We play to eat the donuts. Free agency for the Detroit Pistons.
Yes.
We got a lot of money.
We do.
We got a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And we got some assets, too, that are also still movable.
Yes.
I think we have some people on, the fringe that have value that we can offer up to other teams.
Corey Joseph, Kelly Olynyk.
There you go. Killian Hayes gets brought into this conversation too, which is tough for me. I waffle back and forth on Killian Hayes. You know, sometimes I think I watch him and I'm like, man, this kid can be a star. He's got a nice little floater. He can dish. He can assist. His defense is, I think, probably hit the highlight of his game. And I hate throwing away great defenders. For sure. But he's in the conversation of people we can possibly move off of. Yeah. Beef Stew is another one that we got brought up in that if we were doing a sign and trade situation. But as far as free agency's going right now, who do you want the Pistons to target with all the money that they got?
It's tough. We've heard reports that they're out on DeAndre Ayton. I've seen that going around there. They're not going to pursue DeAndre Ayton anymore because of the draft success, getting Jalen Duren. They're obviously the next biggest prize is Miles Bridges in free agency. Miles Bridges, I love him. Spartan dog. That's my boy. Helped get him an A on an exam in journalism.
Atta boy.
Help put him in the Big Ten tournament.
Were you a tutor at MSU?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
He cheated off me. He's sitting next to me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
did you catch him cheating?
Yeah, I knew he was doing it.
So was the cheating like this? Like you're sitting there, you're doing it, you see him looking, and you're just like,
yes.
You kind of just turn your test a little bit and start doing it.
Exactly.
What? That's pressure though, because what if you fail?
Exactly. I got a 97. So I put them all out. I was on question like 135 or something like that. He had his test booklet open to like question 12. And I look over and the Scantron is exactly the same as mine. And so I finished. I waited there for a little bit. I was sitting between him and Josh Langford. And so I was waiting for a little bit, crack my knuckles, play with my hair. And then I went up and turned myself in. And I said good luck in the tournament after that. But Miles Bridges is the guy that is the biggest prize of this free agency. There's also reports out that the Pistons don't want to spend a max deal. They don't want to spend that money to go out and get a Miles Bridges. They want to keep that flexibility. There are reports from Miles Bridges' camp that say if Charlotte doesn't offer us the bag, we're going to Detroit. And what Troy Weaver did so beautifully in that draft.
Them so hard.
Yes, he traded with New York instead of Charlotte. So he took on Kemba Walker's contract, so we still have enough money to sign Miles Bridges, and Charlotte doesn't have enough money to re-sign Miles Bridges. So I'd like to see him here, yes. I'd like for him to come back home. He's a guy from Flint. He went to Michigan State. It'd be cool to see him with the Pistons. But if they don't, I can understand it because you still got to sign Saddiq Bey in a couple years. You're going to have to obviously give a bag to Cade Cunningham eventually. We have guys now, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, you're going to have to pay in the long run. So looking at the free agent class, there are guys that you can bring in for cheaper to kind of fill in that role. You got, everybody talks about Malik Monk. There's Bryn Forbes, another Michigan State guy. You've got Tyus Jones out there. You've got Patrick Mills, Dennis Schroeder, Avery Bradley, guys you can bring in that are shooters that can be a rotational piece on a team. So I think that's the route they're going to take. I really don't think they're going to throw a max contract at somebody.
Yeah, it's interesting, and obviously we trust in Troy Weaver, so whatever decision he makes, I'm comfortable with.
Amen.
But, yeah, where they're going to go in free agency I think is important. If they do sign a shooter, I think they're making it very clear that they're comfortable with their big men and that we're going to probably re-sign Bagley to a long-term deal and have him here. Because now with Duren, you kind of have your bigs locked up. Your starting bigs are locked up. Or even if Duren's coming off the bench to relieve Bagley, that position's safe, right? Mm-hmm. And if you look at the roster, I feel like that's kind of what Troy Weaver is doing right now. He's getting his guy, and then he's insulating it with another guy. You have your Cade Cunningham. That's kind of insulated now with a Jaden Ivey and, of course, a Killian Hayes. Mm-hmm. You have your Saddiq Bey as your shooter. That's probably the one position we don't have a lot of great insulation at right now is small forward, shooting guard / area. Mm-hmm. And that's where we need to start looking. And I like Bridges. I just don't think that's the style of game that's going to fit in on this team. Mm-hmm. Like I said, they need a shooter. They need someone that can spread the floor. Bridges, as athletic as he is, and I love his game, I just think we've covered the athleticism right now. So I wouldn't go spend a ton of money on a Miles Bridges right now. And to your point, we got to start planning ahead, right? We got to start thinking down the road when these guys are going to get paid, how much these guys are going to get paid. But the fact that they've cleared up the salary cap that the way they have to give themselves a part of this conversation is great to me.
Yes.
But we had a conversation on Friday talking about maybe instead of just signing a free agent, we could do a sign and trade with a little team called the Brooklyn Nets for a little guy called Kevin Durant. And if you watch that video, it's up on our YouTube. We had a spirited debate about it. I don't think it's as outlandish as you guys made it out to be. Like y'all calling me crazy, y'all saying I'm stupid, that Durant's at the end of his rope. But what better veteran player? We just discussed we need coverage at small forward. And even if you want to play Kevin Durant at the 4, this team is now complete if we can get a guy like that. So why not go for it, man? Lay it on the table and go for it.
It is obviously he's still a top 3 NBA talent. Kevin Durant is still one of the 3 best players in the NBA. He can do everything. He is the best offensive weapon.
Not according to people in the comments on that YouTube video. Oh, Kevin Durant's washed.
Yeah,
you're stupid for wanting him. It's like, bro, this is Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant is the best offensive weapon the NBA has ever seen. He will still be that for another 5 seasons plus. He is still going to be a guy that can go out and get you 35, 40 points on any given night.
Yep.
That being said, to trade for Kevin Durant would be the biggest trade package in the history of the NBA. We would have to give up Jaden, Ivey, Saddiq Bey, and 3 first-round picks if we wanted to go get Kevin Durant. I don't think it's worth mortgaging our future to get 4 years of Kevin Durant.
That could bring a championship, 4 years of Kevin Durant.
It could.
I would mortgage the future for a championship.
That's fair. But I'd rather I'd rather be set up because I think this team can be a championship contender when all of these guys are in their primes. When Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham.
And when do you think that is? 3-4 years down the road?
3-4 years down the road. I think we can be a championship contender with this core. And then we can go the Raptors route if it doesn't work out and trade for a Kawhi Leonard who's not going to cost as much as a Kevin Durant. You can trade for a star like that. Yeah, and that can push you
like
over.
A robot.
Yeah, but he's great. And he pushed them over the hump. He took them from being a perennial out from LeBron James in the playoffs to a championship team.
What sweet revenge for Troy Weaver, too, to bring him in and then win a championship in Detroit after that's what happened after he got booted in Toronto.
Yeah.
That would be some nice irony coming full circle. Sam, what do you think?
So the Kevin Durant thing is interesting because, like you said, you might have to put together the biggest trade package in history. And in order for that to be worth it, you have to win a title. If you win a title, it's worth it. If you don't, you basically screw your future. I probably wouldn't do it. It would have to be something that makes sense. But the biggest trade package in history for a guy who I don't think just getting Kevin Durant with all that you would have to give up would get you a championship. It'd have to be Kevin Durant and then some other moves. So at this point in time with a team that's on the rise like the Pistons, I like where your head's at, Stick. I don't think you're crazy because you're going for it. I actually like that. But that move, I probably would say no.
Yeah, I just look around the league, and I can't think of anybody else who would put this team over the top like he would. And I know that's easy to say because he's probably the best player in the league, arguably the best player. It depends on how you want to measure it. But, like, there's nobody else I want us to go and get, right? Because I like the way this core is set up, and I'm trying to think of guys that could fit in the locker room. You know, Kevin Durant's a quiet guy, a quiet leader. Cade's a quiet leader. Like, I think they could mesh well.
And they're boys. They're working out in the summer.
They're boys. They're working out. And, you know, I look around the league at other superstars that we could bring in to complete this. And who else? You want Paul George? Hell no, you don't want Paul George. Who else would you want to bring in?
See, I don't want to bring in anybody just yet.
So you keep wanting to grow this organically.
Yeah, I don't think the team is ready to bring in a superstar to push them over the edge yet. I think we still need to be an established team in the playoffs before we go out and make a move like that. That's like a last ditch move. That's like pushing all your chips in on a 10 and you're trying to hit that other 10, get that 20, or you got an 11 showing and you want to hit that 10 and get that 20.
Oh, we're talking about blackjack.
Yeah,
when you said hit that 10, I thought we were talking about something different.
Something else,
something different.
You always try to do that.
Always trying to hit
weekend.
the 10. Every day we're trying to hit the 10s.
But that's how push all your chips in, and I don't think the Pistons are ready for that yet. We're so young. These guys are so young, and yeah, they look great. Yeah, Cade looks like a budding superstar. Yeah, we like what we have with Jaden Ivey, Saddiq Bey, and Jalen Duren, but we need to see them grow first. We need to see them in the playoffs, get that experience first, and then who knows who's a superstar in the league at that point.
Right. Yeah, and who knows who's available at that point. Yeah, I love the fact that we're having these conversations and we're not talking about what we were 4 years ago. Like, what are we going to do with these expiring contracts? How are we going to get Blake Griffin off the books?
Yeah.
Like, now it's just, oh, man, okay, how are we building this moving forward? And Troy Weaver, I mean, hats off for the draft. What a fun night, too. And it's 2 drafts in a row that we've been watching our teams not only get their guy, but then move back up and get their other guy.
Yes.
And the fact that they almost mirrored each other in the drafts, and I'm talking draft positions too, almost mirroring each other.
Yeah.
You got 2 and 5, then what, 13 and 12?
12, yeah.
Like, it's pretty crazy how these two teams. And I wonder if Troy Weaver looked at Brad Holmes and was like, dude, I saw what you did.
I saw
what you did.
Yeah, he's honestly like, all right, you're doing that. And Troy Weaver did it to a better extent, honestly, than Brad Holmes, because he gave up less, I think, to do that than Brad Holmes did. But also,
I mean, Brad Holmes gave up what? Well, Stafford was part of that,
Yeah,
so you got to consider Stafford, and then a 3rd rounder to move up to 12.
Yeah,
that ain't much.
It's not
man.
Not much, but we got a 2025 that's going to be a late 1st-round pick from the Bucks.
Yeah,
that we moved up and we got a lottery player for, a guy who people say he's the best center in the draft if you don't count Chet as a center. So I like it a lot. And the 2nd round too, like I'm not even going to try to pronounce this guy's name. I'm going to wait until I hear somebody nationally do it right. But this Italian guy we got in the 2nd round,
this Italian guy,
he's a 6'8" guard. He's a freak athlete too. He can shoot the blood out of the ball. Like, this guy looks like he could be a role player, a guy who's going to come in. He's going to get time in this lineup. Maybe not right away, but he looks like a steal too. And we know Troy Weaver has done that before, obviously, with Sadiq Bey, with Isaiah Stewart, with Isaiah Livers, who I think is going to have a breakout year next year. And then you add this guy who's just another big body, a 6'8" guard who can shoot and dribble and dunk the ball. Like, I love Troy. I love Troy Weaver like a father. Like, this guy is the man. Like,
come here, Dad.
Yeah,
Give me a hug. Come here,
Papa. Come on. It's literally like, it's so awesome. I'm so happy.
Yeah, and the synchronicity between him and Dwayne Casey and just the whole organization, like, you can see it too. And I love everything that they're doing with the Pistons. So thank you guys for that. We really appreciate it. And you know, let's stay talking about the Pistons, because when they did their press conference announcing Jaden Ivey and announcing Jalen Duren, they did a lot of cool things. And that's another thing that the Pistons have been really good at lately is capturing the city and capturing, like, just caring. You know, you can tell that they're a family, and that's a big deal when you're operating as a team. So we're going to talk about what the Pistons did coming up next. But first, let me tell you about my people at MyBookie. My goodness, let's see. NHL playoffs wrapped up last night. If you had the Avalanche, I'm sure you're celebrating today, but hopefully you placed that bet at MyBookie.com today. And if you're signing up for the first time, make sure you use promo code Woodward. So you can bet on the Tigers tonight. You can bet on pretty much anything around the world with MyBookie. Just make sure you're signing up with promo code Woodward when you go to MyBookie.com. It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risks, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
Ribbit. When you need apparel, there's only one place to go, and that is Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team in Jalen Duren Pistons jerseys outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing. Big Frog has the styles you want. So go visit them at bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4BIG-FROG. Again, that is 844-4BIG-FROG.
Man. Welcome back to the Woodward Sports Network. This is Big D Energy every day, 11 to 1, right here. My name is Steve, filling in for Neil Rule. That is Spencer filling in for D-Mac. We got Flannel Sam in here. and the new guy, Michael Gentry, filling in the TD booth.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not new here, but you're new in the booth.
That's my guy.
Thank you guys for watching, being a part of this. If you're on YouTube right now, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you also subscribe. And if you want, download our app, which is free and available for you right now in the Apple or Google Play Store. Just search Woodward Sports.
Check it out.
I don't know if you saw this in our group chat right now, but Mr. Pro Designs, he put Kevin Durant in a Pistons uniform.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to send this to you, Gentry, so you can throw this up. I think that looks beautiful. And what is this?
Send it to me on Slack, my Slack.
And then also reported Kyrie Irving has requested and received permission from the Nets to find a sign and trade from offers from other teams.
Wow.
So, yeah, Kyrie out. They're going to blow that team up.
Well,
now's the time, Spence. They're blowing it up. It's a fire sale in Brooklyn. Give me Durant. I'll take him.
We're blowing it up, baby.
We're going live. Let's go. This thing didn't work. We ran into problems.
Yeah.
Durant doesn't want to be there. Come on, man. Now's the time.
See, I don't think this necessarily means they blow it up. If you trade Kyrie Irving, let's say to the Clippers, and you get a return of Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Luke Kennard, and a pick, and you bring that to the Nets organization that still has Kevin Durant, that still has Ben Simmons, that has a healthy Joe Harris, that brings back Seth Curry, that brings back Nick Claxton, I think that makes you a better team. I think if you have those 3-and-D wing guys, you bring that depth to that squad headed by Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons, I think that makes you a better team than you were last year with that crapshoot of a team they had that never worked out, never was healthy altogether. So I don't know if Kevin Durant leaves. I don't know if this means he leaves. Obviously, he's boys with Kyrie Irving. You know, they walk out to the edge of the world together and look at the drop-off. They're burning sage in each other's houses. If Kevin Durant comes here and we don't have to trade 2 of our 4 core pieces, I'll do it. If we don't have to trade 2 of Cade Cunningham, obviously he's not getting traded, but 2 of Sadiq Bey, Jalen Duren, or Jaden Ivey, if we can get rid of one of them and some draft picks and maybe beef stew, and we get Kevin Durant, I'm for it.
I'm telling you, you guys are going to buy in. I'm feeling it. I'm wearing you down, Spence. And you know,
it's not going to.
Jeff is next.
Come to Detroit.
Jeff, I'm coming for you. You're going to realize this is the deal for the Pistons.
He's cool. You know, he's boys. They have fun. They hang out. He talks about, what do you mean a team like Detroit? You know, Cade Cunningham's a great player. I'm working out. He's not going to come to Detroit. Kevin Durant wants to win a championship. He's going to go somewhere that gives him the best position to win a championship. And right now, that's not Detroit.
Michael, I sent you that picture to your Gmail, and it may be in Slack, too. Anthony Pistons Talk posted that in there. And shout out to Pistons Talk and Mr. Pro Design.
Yes.
So that's just crazy that we were talking about it in the moment. And it's about to happen.
What do you know?
And Kyrie's out, baby.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we're not here sitting, hey, let's bring Kyrie in. I don't think any of us want that problem.
Absolutely not.
Take that ass across 8 Mile.
Kyrie is a cancer. I don't want him anywhere near Cade Cunningham.
Yeah. No, God. Can you imagine? Like, that is like
Just
putting your
infects his
degenerate
mind.
uncle with like your favorite niece or nephew and like letting them party for the weekend. Like, no, I do not need your sage bringing ass in here.
Yeah,
Like,
hey, Cade, you know the world's flat, right?
yeah. Oh, God.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Kyrie and buffs would look pretty sweet, though, but I do not want him as a part of the Pistons. He can wear the buffs elsewhere. But let's talk about Ivey. What do you think it means to have him in Detroit? And, you know, when they brought him on,
Yes.
what a cool moment for the press conference and for him. You know, not only did Javen Hunter, his dad, go to Detroit Country Day, which I just learned last week, and I played against Javen Hunter in high school.
Yeah.
And
Did you block him a couple times?
No, I couldn't catch that dude. That dude was fast as hell, man. That guy was insanely good.
Yeah.
He ended up going to play at Notre Dame, but his mom also played for the Shock. Jaden Ivey's mom played for the Shock.
Yeah.
His grandpa played for the Lions.
7 years.
And then he saluted Barry Sanders, which was a big thing. And, you know, even though it's a crossover sport, what do you think it means to have a Jaden Ivey with so many Detroit ties in this city?
I think it's important. It's important that you have guys that want to play in this city, because we've heard it so many times. Oh, nobody wants to go to Detroit. Nobody wants to play in Detroit. That's not a destination. And now you're seeing it. You're seeing Cade Cunningham buying in. He was wearing the buffs. He only worked out for Detroit. He's Detroit, let's do it. What up though? You see Marvin Bagley saying, I love Detroit. I wanted to go there. It brought me back. It brought my career back. It brought that fire I had back. You have Jalen Duren doing the same thing. What up though, Detroit? I want to be here. And then you bring in a guy who's got the ties. His grandma lives here. Like you said, all of that stuff about his different family members playing professional sports in Detroit. It's so important. And that's what you're building. And that's what Miles Bridges could add to it as well. Like a Flint guy, an MSU guy, obviously would love to come home. But it's important to have those guys that like the city, know the city, want to be here. It helps everybody else, and it helps endear them to a fan base.
And you know what that is? That's a reflection of leadership, too.
Yes.
So, as much as these guys are excited, it's because of the culture that's been created. And we're not only talking about the Pistons, we're talking about the Lions when we have this conversation, because, you're watching those war rooms during drafts and just how tight-knit they are. You're hearing all the players talk about Dan Campbell, how they'd run through a wall for him.
Yes.
And, even when they were losing, they would play, oh, there it is. Oh, that feels good.
And somebody clean.
Oh, that feels so good.
We need a towel over here.
Clean up on aisle stick.
We need a towel over here.
Oh, my goodness.
You thought I was having a Weaver gasm. This guy's having a Durant gasm over here.
Oh, God, this table just got lifted 6 inches. What the hell happened over here? Woo. Man, Mr. Pro Design. That's
it's not going to happen.
That's a beautiful thing right there.
It's not going to happen.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
It is not going to happen.
Oh,
man.
yeah, it's happening, baby. It's happening up here, and that's
for those
close enough for me.
For those listening on the radio and on the app, we just put up the picture of Kevin Durant wearing a Pistons uniform, and Stick absolutely lost his mind.
Oh, my God, yeah. I need a cigarette.
So Jaden Ivey loves Detroit. Let's get back to real things here.
Oh, yeah, you talk. I got to recover, baby.
So like I said, he said I need a cigarette. These guys, you got them in here.
I don't even smoke, too.
Yeah, just got the gears turning. You got these guys in here. They want to be here, and like you said, it trickles down from the ownership, and for obviously, Tom Gores, people will say what they want about him, but he wants to produce a winner. That's what he wants to do. You get a guy like Troy Weaver who knows what he's doing, wants to produce a winner, has great ties within the NBA, everybody talks about how they love Troy Weaver. Kendrick Perkins talks about it all the time. Kevin Durant talks about it all the time.
Right.
Different people say that. And then you have a player's coach in Dwayne Casey that people love to play for, that is a great leader of men, that is great connecting with these young guys. Even though he's an older guy, he still connects with them at a personal level.
He treats them like men.
Exactly. Yeah. He gives them the respect they deserve and the respect they need. And that's not what you had with Stan Van Gundy and different regimes like that. So this is a new era of Detroit sport, and it's something where, like I said, just getting Cade Cunningham, people are going to want to come play with him.
Yep.
He's a guy, he's a selfless all-star. He's a selfless superstar that makes his teammates better. So people are going to want to come play with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. You absolutely love to see it here in Detroit, and just the culture that they're building on pretty much all the teams. So, we could have the Avila conversation at some point, but we got to give credit to Steve Yzerman where credit is due there too. And it's just a nice feeling that these guys are in it together, and we have actual people talking about coming to Detroit.
Yes.
And maybe there's a little bit of past makeup, because you used to have a guy like Devin Booker saying the Pistons were his team, and we passed on him, right? And then look what happened to Devin Booker. So maybe they took that cue and was like, listen, Ivey's been talking super hype about Detroit. Like, it's not always just about talent. No. It's about fit.
Yeah.
And if they learn their lesson from Devin Booker, it's like, okay, this guy actually wants to be here. He's going to be in the gym at 7 a.m. working his ass off.
Yeah.
He wants to be here. Let's draft him. And I know we were all disappointed that we didn't get the number 1 draft pick, but sometimes things work out the way they're supposed to be. And this Jaden Ivey fit just feels like it's something that was meant to be.
And especially in basketball, basketball is such a mental game. There's so much that goes into it with that, whether it's your shot, it's your attitude on the court, how locked in you are on defense, which is something that Troy Weaver challenged Jaden Ivey to be. He said, I challenge you to be a great defender, because that was one of the questions questions he had coming out of the draft. Is he going to be a great NBA defender? He has the accolades for it. He's got the body length. He's long. He's got great lateral quickness, obviously freak athleticism. So he's got all the intangibles.
I can't wait to see. That first step, man.
Yeah. Oh,
just the athleticism that I can't wait to see this guy. He's obviously, it's going to be some growing pains this first year. I was going to say freshman year, but his rookie year in the league. But if he can continue to just out-athlete people,
yes,
we got the guy that can get him the ball.
For sure.
And I love this combination of Cade and Jaden.
And that's what it is. He's going to put so much pressure on the rim because he's able to blow by his guy. He's able to get past that first guy. And that is going to make someone help. You got to help off of somebody if you got Jaden Ivey screaming down the lane ready for a lob. You need somebody to rotate over, and now we have different pieces in different spots that are ready to go. So I think, Cade Cunningham, he's going to be so much happier playing this year in this system when he's kicking it out and it's Sadiq Bey or it's somebody else that Bryn Forbes, Malik Monk, whatever shooter they bring in, and you've got Duren, Ivey, and Bagley just being immense lob threats and pressure on the rim to get these guys open, to give Cade more lanes to the basket and not have Cade Cunningham, a rookie, getting double teamed at a higher rate than Steph Curry or Kevin Durant.
Right, because they got to actually cover somebody else this year.
It's going to help.
Sam, how you feeling about Jaden Ivey? I mean, I like your perspective because you're not from Michigan. So him showing love automatically endears me to him. Him having that history automatically endears me to him. But what about you, somebody who grew up outside of here? Does it matter that he's showing that? Like, how do you feel about all this?
At first, I thought that it was a little bit overblown, but then you think about it, especially him showing love to Detroit and all the other teams, like saluting Barry Sanders, for example. Pistons fans are Lions fans, are Tiger fans, are Red Wing fans. And he knows that. He understands also that the city has been through some tough times sports-wise lately. And I think a guy like Jaden Ivey, too, he understands competence in Troy Weaver, getting a guy like Cade Cunningham. That's a guy that I think Jaden Ivey could potentially play very well off of. Jaden Ivey is one of those guys, he wasn't my first choice, but after he was drafted, I'll tell you what, I've really talked myself into it, and now he's our guy.
Yep.
We want him to succeed. And looking at his game, especially with the athleticism, with the ability, he's one of those guys that when all things breaks down, he can just go get a bucket. And I know people have criticized his finishing ability, but when you're that athletic, you can create opportunities for yourself where anyone can finish, like an easy layup or dunk. And a guy like Cade Cunningham will get him those looks. So right now, I might have to up my grade to the draft from an A- to an A. After doing some research and intel this week, and I might have to give it an official A.
It's funny because I do the exact same thing after a draft. Like the Lions' second-round pick, Josh Paschal, I didn't know a ton about him. Then I started doing research, and I was like, oh my God, all right, this is the guy. This guy's a dog. Yeah. I got excited about it. Like he went up against SEC offensive lines and dominated at Kentucky where nobody else was. So I love how you do that too. Does everybody pretty much do that after a draft? Like do deep dives on everybody?
For sure. That's how I felt about Malcolm Rodriguez with the Lions draft. The heavyweights single-handedly created the Malcolm Rodriguez hype train in Detroit. The day after we drafted him, we posted a review video with Scott Bischoff. It's got 12,000 views. And this guy is going to be good. He's got the dog. He's got the Dan Campbell dog. He's got all of the intangibles. Yeah, he has shorter arms, but he is like a poor man's Nakobe Dean. And if you wanted Nakobe Dean so bad, we got Malcolm Rodriguez in the 6th round.
I was going to say, I'll take a poor man's Nakobe Dean in the 6th round.
This guy's going to go out there. He's going to fight for a starting spot. I don't think he'll get it at the beginning of the year, but I would not be surprised in the slightest if he starts a good amount of games in this season for the Lions.
Well, that's good. I come to you for the non-biased Detroit sports opinions. Like Terry Foster is a good source of that as well. But, we all drink the Kool-Aid. We're all Detroit boys, so we kind of drink the Kool-Aid sometimes. Sure. And I've always been a sucker because this city, nobody speaks well about Detroit. Yeah. It just doesn't happen. My entire life, it's just been, the murder capital, all this BS that when people actually come and visit the city, they're like, oh, this is Detroit? That's actually really effing nice. And you're like, yeah, maybe if you just wouldn't listen to the pundits. But I've always been a sucker for if anybody's ever said anything nice, it's like, oh, I love them now. Yeah, I love them. Yes. Oh, thank you. You're the best. Oh, you're doing something good for the city. So the fact that we're bringing in people that love this city and want to represent Detroit, like Cade putting on buffs 2 years ago, that sent a message to me.
Yes.
That he said, I'm all in Detroit. And he literally was all in when he put on those buffs. And that's a symbol of the city. And just those little things are so important because not only are you speaking towards good basketball, now you're speaking towards the culture. And you're going to bring in fringe fans that way as well. So, yeah, continue what you're doing, all of our Detroit teams, except for the Tigers, who I think we're going to talk about next, aren't we?
We are. They're
and
on the
we got some
docket.
highlights with the Tigers, too.
You know.
Listen, it's not all doom and gloom with the Tigers, but if you're feeling a little bit down on yourself, you know what makes you feel better? A trip to Planet Fitness.
There we go.
Say your health is essential, and that is totally true. Your fitness is essential because after you work out, it releases endorphins. You're feeling better. You're feeling like you look good naked, and that's all you want in life, period. So go to Planet Fitness. Only $10 a month. Plus, they got that black card to get you all those extra amenities that they have. Go sign up today. $10 a month at Planet Fitness.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio. 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Our friends at Alta Equipment know that when it comes to getting your job completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. That's why Alta Equipment has partnered with the biggest names in construction, including Volvo, Lieboy, Avant, and ASW to provide the state of Michigan with industry-leading service and support. With the most diverse rental fleet in Michigan, there is nothing your project can't throw at you that Alta can't handle. So give them a call at 844-GO-TO-ALTA today. Alta Equipment, where uptime matters.
Uptime!
Alta, shout out Alta.
Welcome back. It is the Woodward Sports Network. This is Big D Energy. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule, who's out on the golf course today. I'm sure shooting under par because he's fabulous at anything he does.
You're giving him too much credit.
You're not trying to hype up our boy. Come on, man. If I'm ever out, I hope y'all are saying nice things about me, even if they're lies. Either way, you got Spencer filling in for 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty. Once again, if you didn't see what was it called yesterday? The E60?
Yeah, Unrivaled.
Unrivaled. I was just, why couldn't I think of that word? If you didn't see that, make sure you check it out. Darren did such an incredible job. So much so he took the day off today because it was just exhausting for him to watch that last night. But no, Darren's awesome. That documentary is awesome, so make sure you check it out and look for the Woodward Sports logos during it. We're all over it.
Yes.
And somebody told me my voice leads it off.
Yeah, that's what Corey said, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear the first part of it.
Neither did I. I missed the first, 10 minutes.
Yeah, just the first 5. And I told myself, I'm like, don't miss it, don't miss it. And I looked at the clock. I was like, oh, it's 1:05. Damn it. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, because we set up everything. We did the mic checks. We did the sound. We played back the video. We did a lot of cool things to help this thing happen and for ESPN to come and highlight us. Maybe we're not on their level as a competitor right now, but, in a couple of years, they're going to regret showing us love.
For sure. That's free marketing.
That is free marketing. So we were talking about the Tigers, and I believe Jack Harrington in the chat said the Tigers are a dumpster fire, and that is very true.
Yeah, you can't.
But, within a dumpster fire, sometimes people throw out nice things. Yeah. And we have a couple nice things in this dumpster fire right now.
You can find a couch in there. That's not too bad.
Yeah, one of the nice things that we have in this dumpster fire is a name called Riley Greene.
Yes.
He made some incredible defensive plays over the weekend, and really he has been the highlight since he's been called up and back from injury. And we had Len Henning on Big D, or the Bottom Line, last week, and he compared him to Al Kaline. He compared him to Tigers greats, that he is the best homegrown prospect that the Tigers pretty much have ever had.
Jeez.
And to me, that was high praise because if you know Len Henning, he's been writing for the Tigers forever, essentially.
Yes.
So he follows his history. He understands the value and the depth of what he was saying when he said that. How you feeling about Riley Greene?
I love Riley Greene. I love. Obviously, we saw what he did in the field, where he's making a diving play to his left. I was talking to Ryan Lentz back there, and he said it was so crazy because he's a lefty, so he has to make that catch on the backhand. And this guy is running, 20 miles an hour, going over there, dives full extension, backhand out, makes the catch. The next day, he makes another spectacular catch, running to his right and diving to make the play. Obviously, we've seen his plate discipline. This guy is drawing more walks than anybody on the team already for a rookie. That's amazing to have an eye like that in the MLB. He hasn't gotten a home run yet, so we haven't seen that power. We haven't seen.
Well, that's just the Tigers. We don't hit home runs.
Yeah,
we don't hit home runs.
It's part of Comerica Park.
Check our bats or something.
Yeah.
Like, can we check our bats?
It's the balls. It's dead ball era.
All right, then check your balls, Tigers.
I'm good. But so it's
still there.
It's important that we have a player like this. We have a guy that could turn out to be our Christian Yelich. We have a guy that could turn out to maybe not our Mike Trout. I'm not going to put that much, pressure on him. But
I mean, if he's being compared to Al Kaline and the likes of that, that's Mr. Effing Tiger.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a stretch.
Okay.
I don't want to go that far yet. He's a fantastic prospect. I love what I see from him. He's going to be a 5-tool player eventually in the MLB where he can run, he can hit for power, he can defend, and he can steal bases. So I like it. I like it a lot. But
a lot.
I'm gonna pump the brakes a little bit on the Al Kaline comparisons.
I was floored when he said that, man. I was like, you know what you're saying, right?
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, we see the offense has been significantly better since he's come back. Even though it was the Diamondbacks, we scored 5+ runs in every game in that series. Like I said, he's drawing walks, he's getting on base, he's putting pressure on pitchers by stealing bases, and he's batting cleanup. This guy is a rookie batting cleanup in your lineup. I love it. I love Riley Greene, and he just seems like a cool guy too.
Yeah, that's a good thing and a bad thing that he's batting cleanup.
Yes,
I'm happy he's there, but I'm sad that that's our only option at this point. But it's interesting when you do add one player to a 9-person lineup, how it can affect the entire lineup, because now pitchers have to approach our cleanup position different, which is going to affect how he pitches the guy right in front of him and the guy right behind him. We used to see that with Miguel Cabrera a lot back in the day. That's why, you would put him with the Prince fielder and then with the Victor Martinez, because you got to figure out how to get through that gauntlet, and you had to pick your poison. Well, now we got one guy where at least he's coming up. You got to kind of pick your poison. And I think because of that, he's taking walks, like you said. He's being selective. He's not easy to strike out. And now I think people are trying to go at Javy Baez a little bit more aggressive because he's the easier out according to what he's been so far this season.
Yeah.
But now it's starting to pay off for Javy Baez a little. He came alive over the weekend too, and I think that's part of the Riley Greene effect.
For sure. It definitely trickles down. It's, Javy Baez, obviously, beginning of the year was awful. He was swinging at pitches that were 6 inches off the plate, striking out terribly. But now we saw he hit the longest grand slam in Tigers in the Stat Track era. That is the longest grand slam a Tiger has hit since they've been using StatTrack. It's very important for that bat to get going. We saw he had a couple home runs over the weekend. This guy, his slugging percentage is rising. His on-base percentage is rising. He even drew a walk. I was like, what the hell is that? This guy's not swinging out of his shoes. And it's impressive. But, yeah, that is the Riley Greene trickle-down effect. It's when you have more guys that are confident, they're out there, they're playing well. Baseball is the most mental sport. It's all in the head, It's all how you're feeling, how you're going, what's going on around you. And when you bring a guy like that kind of injects life into your offense, into your team, it's going to help even seasoned veterans like Javy Baez get off to a better time at the plate.
Do you think this kind of takes some heat off of Avila for even just for a short amount of time? Because now it's like, all right, one of your draft picks is working out. And even though when you have the top draft pick, you shouldn't miss, people do.
Yes.
And I hate giving them credit for things you're supposed to do because, it's like Chris Rock said, I pay my bills. Okay, why are you telling me? You're supposed to pay your bills. I take care of my kids.
All right.
Yeah. This isn't a flex, bro. You're supposed to take care of your kids. I drafted a good player.
Okay,
yeah, we did it. But honestly, does this kind of take a little bit of heat because you're seeing the Tigers gain a little bit of life? You're seeing some of the young talent being pushed in. I don't want to say it gives them a free pass, but you can understand why the Illiches aren't just throwing this guy out with the bathwater because, like we talked about earlier in the show, there was a lot of hopium going around before the season for growth, knowing the young talent is coming in. And you didn't expect all the injuries. You didn't expect all the pitching injuries especially. Mm-hmm. Does this help him out?
No. Al Avila needs to be gone before the trade deadline. Like, I hate Al Avila. He sucks. It might be a little bit of Adam that's rubbing off. Like, Adam was just in this chair earlier, so I might be getting... No, but Al Avila is terrible. Terrible. We've played the graphic of his trades, what he got in return for all of those, Hall of Famers that he was trading away. Borderline Hall of Famers or... first ballot Hall of Famers that he traded away and got absolutely dog bleep for. And so it's hard for me just because your 1-1 looks good and your whatever Riley Greene was 1-3 looks good. Like, you can't just bank on that. Those guys were gonna hit. It's the fact that we have nothing else. The cupboard is bare.
Right.
We have nothing in our farm system that is even remotely ready to be a difference maker. Those were our only two offensive weapons in our farm system. And I like Torkelson. I think he's going to get better. I think he'll be a good
adjust
player.
to major league pitching eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
And I was on the camp of sending him down to get his rhythm, but I got talked out of it by some smart baseball people that are like, no, he's already mastered that. So why send it? It's not going to help him. He needs to adjust here or not at all.
And that's Rogelio told me that Al Avila is basically a figurehead right now. Like, he's not even calling the shots. If so, get him the hell out of here. Why is he still here? Especially in this trade deadline where everybody thought we were going to be buyers at the trade deadline this year. It's not going to happen. We're going to be sellers. We're going to be selling Chafin, Lang, maybe Skubal. Probably not, but that is one of our tradable assets. And I have no faith in Al Avila to get anything for those guys. So we need to get rid of him. We need to bring in somebody that is competent and knows what they're doing.
Well, something that Al Avila couldn't even mess up?
What's that?
A mulligan, baby.
Oh, for
I'm
sure.
telling you, over the weekend I had several of these bad boys, and make sure you pick them up where they are available, and ask for them at the golf course while you're there, and make sure that they stock it for you. The mulligan from Gypsy Vodka, absolutely delicious. 8% alcohol. I said 8%. This is not some wimpy craft beer. This is some good stuff. So make sure you pick up a mulligan today. Gypsy Vodka, making sure you got it for the summertime.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
What's going on, everybody? It's Spencer for the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. You've heard of it. It's the home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling. They've got multiple different ways you can play. They've got $12 open unlimited play where you can stay there open until close, have a good time, or private lane reservation, $120, 10 to 12 people. You can bring in any type of food you want. If you get thirsty, they've got a $2 mystery beer vending machine. Want to make a decision? They have multiple fully loaded bars. So come on down and check them out in Hamtramck at the Foaling Warehouse, or visit them online at foalingwarehouse.com. Again, that is foalingwarehouse.com.
Welcome back to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you to everybody that's listening on the Roar right now. We appreciate you and everybody that has downloaded our app, which is free and available in the App Store Just go to Google Play or Apple and search Woodward Sports Network. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule today on Big D Energy. That is Spencer, filling in for Darren McCarty. They will both be back tomorrow, and I can't wait to hear Darren talk about that documentary.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, if you want to see a really cool video that breaks down that whole fight, we did it last year with Darren, and just search on our YouTube page, Darren McCarty Breaks Down Fight.
Yeah.
And Justin and him did a really good job about explaining the entire backstory of just the fight.
Yeah.
Like, the documentary was about the back and forth between the organizations. This was about just the fight, and I loved it.
We did one this year too. I think it was the day of the anniversary, the day of the 25th anniversary. Neil interviewed D-Mac for the whole second hour of the show.
That's awesome.
And we had the fight going on in the background, and he just talked about what it meant, and it was really cool. I love D-Mac's the man, and I just love hearing his stories. And
yep. The more I know D-Mac, the more I love him. Mike G put in the chat, Stick, does Mulligan come in Honolulu blue? No, but we actually should contact them and tell them to come out with some Lions Kool-Aid.
That's a genius idea.
Honolulu blue. Yeah. And if that happens,
blue raspberry mulligan.
If that happens, man, we're gonna get you a case of it, Mike G.
Yeah, Mike G.
You're over 21.
That is a really smart idea.
Yeah, we'll call Gypsy Vodka today. Let's talk some football. Let's have a little fun with this. I mean,
speaking of the Honolulu blue,
training camp's gonna start soon.
So excited.
Everybody's all excited for the NFL. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Corey Woods is doing some in-depth writing right now on all of our rookies and whatnot, so I can't wait to read what he has up on woodwardsports.com. But you put this in the prep, actually. Repicking the 2020 NFL draft. So not last year.
No.
Not the year before, but 2020, the Jeff Okudah draft.
2020, yeah.
And if we were looking at that today, what would it look like for the Detroit Lions, and who would you have them drafting now that we have hindsight in our favor, which obviously the GMs do not have during this time? And, it was Matt Millen's last pick, Jeff Okudah. Good riddance.
Mike, you want to throw that graphic up?
There we go. So when we're looking at this, let's start with you. Obviously, the number one pick in that draft doesn't change.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's going to Joe Burrow. He's proven to be every bit the number one draft pick that he needed to be. He's proven to get his team to a Super Bowl in year 2, which is pretty effing amazing. But here we go. PFF put this up. What the 2020 NFL draft would look like 2 years later via Pro Football Fantasy or Pro Football Focus. What would you want your team to grab? And so listed now, number 1 was Joe Burrow. Number 2, they'd have Justin Herbert going to Washington.
Yep.
Number 3, we would have Justin Jefferson coming to Detroit.
Yes.
Number 4, Tristan Wirfs, the guard, going to the Giants. Chase Young dropping all the way down to number 5 and going to the Dolphins. A.J. Terrell going to the Lightning Bolts. Let's see, Jarek Willis Jr. going to the Panthers. CeeDee Lamb going to the Arizona Cardinals. Trayvon Diggs going to the Jags. And then to wrap out the top 10, you got Andrew Thomas going to the Browns. So let's start number 1, like we said.
Yeah.
That's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm with them that Justin Herbert probably should have been the pick for Washington at that point. I mean, they've been scrambling trying to find a quarterback since then.
Yeah.
And I also think you would have made Terry McLaurin very happy during that draft if you did that.
Absolutely.
So here we are, number 3. You see who's still available on the board. Are you agreeing with Justin Jefferson at number 3 for the Detroit Lions? And in the chat right now, let me know who you would pick as well out of all the players that are left in the 2020 NFL Draft. And also, once again, make sure you like and subscribe to YouTube right now.
I'm going with Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
That guy, Jay Jetta's, he's a defense's worst nightmare. That guy goes out there and he burns anybody that is up against him. I was there, I might be a little spoiled. I was there at the Lions-Vikings game that we won, and I was right in the end zone, and I saw Justin Jefferson just having his way with the Detroit secondary. He was open on every play. He was doing whatever he wants, and he went out there and he did that in his first season. This is a guy that made an immediate impact, a guy that immediately thrusted himself into the top 5, top 10 wide receivers in the NFL. And if you can get that out of a draft, it's something you can't pass up, I think, especially with how the NFL is going, how the NFL is offense first, passing league, and we saw what drafting a guy like Jamar Chase did to the Bengals. Obviously, we don't have our Joe Burrow.
Right.
Or we did at the time. I mean, we had Matt Stafford at the time.
That would be interesting to see, like, the trickle-down effect if we had Jefferson and what that would have led for Matthew Stafford moving forward.
I think it would have helped him out a lot. You had that weapon. It would have been happier. That offense would have been much more explosive, obviously. I think that if we made that play and Matt Stafford was still here, if he would have stayed, we would have been in the playoffs that year. We would have made some noise that year.
So you're predicting playoffs if we get Jefferson.
Yes. If Justin Jefferson would have made that much of an impact on our team to where we would have been.
Even though Matt Patricia was the coach.
Like,
even he couldn't mess it up.
And even he couldn't mess up Justin Jefferson burning anybody that was in front of him.
Okay.
Like that guy is a fantastic player, one of the best receivers in the NFL, and I would love to have him on our team.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at how they switch this out. And, if I'm picking at number 3, obviously Joe Burrow is gone, Justin Herbert is gone. And that leaves you with pretty much anybody else. You could still go with Tua because Tua was another hot name during that time.
Yeah.
And we were all talking about how we should get the quarterback because Matthew Stafford was kind of on his way out. I think Justin Jefferson, obviously, in hindsight, is the right pick. But I would argue that Chase Young should have been our guy that year. If he was available at number 3, it would have been damn near impossible not to draft that guy coming out of college. I mean, he's proven to be a very good pro too.
Yeah.
And you think about how that would have changed the entire Lions organization, how that would have changed the defense and the lineup, and we wouldn't be searching for the Ayton Hutchinson that we had to get this year. I would argue that Chase probably would have been the better pick for us there, but I could see why they would take Justin Jefferson knowing what we know now. But that defensive line, man, it's been an issue ever since they kind of broke it down and got rid of Ndamukong Suh. Like, we tried to revamp it and do some things. We brought in a Trey Flowers, then moved him to linebacker, then put him as a down line. Like, we've tried it all, and none of it worked. So it would have been nice to have something solid in that position, a bookend that we can build the entire defense around.
It is true. Like you said, coming out of college, Chase Young was the obvious. Like, that guy was argued for
he was
the number
Christina
one
Gennari,
pick.
man. He was the obvious choice.
Yeah, he really was. He was the obvious choice. And it's hard to say they wouldn't have if it was just him coming out of college. But what we know of his career, he's dealt with injury concerns. He dealt with injuries last year. He's going to deal with them again this year. He had a great rookie season. He looked like a complete animal, but Justin Jefferson is just different. The guy is a different type of player, different caliber of player, does so much for your offense, does so much for your defense too. When you got a guy like that keeps teams off the field, that it puts up high points, puts up touchdowns, it takes the pressure off of your defense. So I can see Chase Young, but I just want Justin Jefferson. He's a generational talent at wide receiver.
I think we could both agree either one of those is probably better than the Okudah pick at this point.
Yes.
And I'm not done with Okudah.
No.
I still believe I think he should move to safety. But I haven't seen his lateral quickness. Sam got a smile out of that. What are you smiling about over there, Sam?
Oh, I'm not smiling. I think Jeff Okudah, unfortunately, the reality of Jeff Okudah is he's never going to live up to that draft pick, and that's sad. Would I like to see him be a productive player? Yes, but it's always going to be a miss. Moving him to safety, though, I know that's something that I've thought about and you've talked about. Maybe that's what needs to be done. Maybe it needs to be Owarie and someone like A.J. Parker, and Jeff Okudah is a nickel or a safety. I don't know, though. It's just, it'll never sit right with me that he was the number 3 pick, and I know that just makes me jaded, but damn. Especially looking at like a Chase. I mean, Chase Young was gone, but yeah, you were going to say something, Spencer?
Yeah, I'm not ready to give up on Okudah yet.
No.
I think like what he did, he got brought into the Matt Patricia defense where you're put on an island, and he was given the best receiver on every team every week. And
he got thrown in the deep end.
He's
early.
going up against Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson, like in your own division, is not easy. And then when he comes back, he's going to come back to a much better system with Aaron Glenn that Aaron Glenn has established. He's going to not have to be going up against the number 1 guy every week, because that's what Amani Owarie is going to be doing. He is our big body guy that's going to go up against the best receiver on any other team. So I think Jeff Okudah can come back into this defense in a much more comforting system to him and be that number 2 guy. I think he's going to have a good year. I really do. And that, a number 2 corner having a good year is not what you want out of the number 3 pick in the NFL draft. But I don't think he's a total bust just yet.
Yeah, and like you said, all things considered, first year was under incompetent head coach who treated players like trash.
Yeah.
The next year, he was talking about how he was given more tools for his bag than he ever had before going into, and then he gets injured. I can't hold an injury against a player, right? It happens, and Joik Bell, he used to talk about it all the time. Like, the injury rate in the NFL is 100%. It's not if you're going to get injured, it's when you're going to get injured. And unfortunately for him, it came very early in his career, so we really haven't seen him get going yet. I'm just scrolling through looking at some of the other draft picks in this, and like Green Bay taking Jordan Love there. You think they're regretting that pick?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
How terrible.
Especially the fact that, a couple picks later, you have T. Higgins, Michael Pittman. Like, they got it.
That's the only offensive player that Green Bay has drafted in the first round in Aaron Rodgers' tenure is Jordan Love.
Yeah, and like I said,
that's awful.
Right after that, you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman, DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah,
like, you could have all those guys to help out Aaron Rodgers, but what'd you do? You took a guy that's you're just gonna pay and never play.
Yeah,
I hate you, Green Bay. I hate
Me
you
too.
so much. But also looking at the second round for the Lions, DeAndre Swift and Jonathan Taylor is interesting.
Yeah.
Because Swift has a different skill set than Taylor, but Taylor is obviously proven to be one of the best running backs in the league. But Taylor also has a great offensive line in front of him.
Yeah.
Now our offensive line is caught up. This offense would be scary if we went Jonathan Taylor over Swift. And Taylor was the projected pick higher than Swift coming out.
Yeah. Taylor had a great college career. That guy, they
were worried about his usage.
They were worried about his usage, and that's what it was. And that's what people are still worried about. Like, how long can he keep this up? We know the shelf life for running backs is at an all-time low. These guys get drafted, they get fed carries on carries on carries on carries, and then they get tossed aside because that's what running backs are nowadays. And I know Sam might be a little too happy if I say this, is that
he dancing.
I like DeAndre Swift more at that pick because of what he brought. It's he's more of the guy who's going to go out. He's going to catch ball. Obviously, we're looking at it now. Hindsight is 2020. Yeah, I'd rather have Jonathan Taylor, but DeAndre Swift was the less used guy coming out of a backfield that was dominated by so many different guys in that rotation, and then you see him, what he can bring to an offense. If he can stay healthy, he can be a dynamic running back, a dynamic pass catcher out of the backfield, just a dynamic weapon in that offense. But that's the key, is him staying healthy. Can he stay healthy for a whole year?
Well, speaking of offense, we got a new offensive coordinator in town. His name is Ben Johnson. The rankings of some of the best offensive play callers in the NFL came out, and we're going to talk about that coming up next to see where Ben Johnson can fall on that list. Hopefully very high. But first, let me tell you about SMA, the sports marketing agency. They do so much good in this world, and it's all headed by NFL alumni Sean Jordan. They have a podcast called This is the F Word, talking about fentanyl and how that affects daily lives, and just people with addiction and struggle with mental health. So if you're having any of those issues, or you know someone that is, make sure you get them the help that they deserve. Go to thesportsma.com right now to check out all they offer.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Make sure you're listening to Woodward Sports all day long. Start your morning with the Morning Woodward Show. Spend middays with Big D Energy. Watch and listen your drive home with the Bottom Line. And don't forget about Woodward Bets Daily. All live, all right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Odds Trader, as our good friend Fish likes to call it. You can go to oddstrader.com right now, or they have an app that you can download, and you can get play-by-play updates, live scores, and bet tracking downloads. And what's really cool about Odds Trader, as the lines change, they give you the update so you can get the very best bet for your money. For your best bet goes to oddstrader.com right now. Odds Trader, bet station. Welcome back to the Woodward Sports Network. This is Big D Energy. My name is Stick. Filling in for Neil Rule today. He'll be back tomorrow. Spencer Raxter on the other mic.
The donut champion.
The donut champ. Got to call you that.
Yeah, I earned that title.
What did you do Sunday then? After you dominated the donut eating on Saturday, what did you do Sunday?
Well, Saturday, I went home after that competition. I sat in front of my neighbor's pool for about 6 hours, ate some of those edibles from the greenhouse, was slamming some beers. I am toast. Like, my shoulders and my back are toasted. So I did that, had a great time. Sunday, I didn't do anything. I just sat on the couch all day. Yeah, recovery day. Watched Unrivaled, watched the Avalanche win that Stanley Cup, and just chilled.
I went up to Electric Forest on Saturday, and if anybody's ever been to Electric Forest, it is an experience I think all of us should experience once in our lives.
Yeah.
Even if it's not for you, because I was talking to some people here, they're like, that's not my scene. It's like, listen, it ain't my scene either, but I love to put myself in places that aren't my scene, because you find your vibe there. Like, you find people, you find things that you want to do, and we went up there as a quick 24-hour trip, left at 11 a.m. on Saturday, got up there about 2, partied till about 5 in the morning, got up at 7:30 and drove back.
And Justin's still not here.
Yeah, is Justin still not here? Like, literally midway through, he's like, yeah, I don't know if I can make it to work on Monday. I was like, bro, we got to go to work. But that's why we came back early on Sunday. But what a great time at Electric Forest. Anybody who was out there, hopefully I saw you. I may not remember seeing you, but it was a damn good time, man. And like I said, go experience it for yourself and lose yourself in the forest.
It's not my scene.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My brother goes to it every year. He says it's a great time. He did show me, like, T-Pain was there, like, last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, they mix it up.
You showed me the little blues stuff. Like, that looked pretty cool, but I don't know. It's just sweat, drugs, and electronic music is just, I don't know. That's not really my scene.
You had me at drugs.
Yeah.
You had me at drugs. No, I love any type of live music. I'll go to anything.
That's fair.
Even if I don't like the music, like country isn't my favorite genre, but country concerts slap, bro.
Oh.
Like, country concerts are fun as hell. This the EDM wook music isn't really my bag of tea, but I had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was fun.
Live music and people and just energy, and it's good to see the world just getting out again and having fun. But yeah, the way I described Electric Forest to a lot of people is like, have you ever been to the Renaissance Festival? Imagine a DJ's playing there, and that's it. Like, it's gypsies all around, and it was a good time. So had a great time this weekend. Hopefully you did too. Let's talk about offensive play calling in the NFL.
Yes.
The Lions upped Ben Johnson, which I like when you promote from within. I think that shows cohesiveness and it shows trust, and you already have familiarity with the players. Players galvanize around that. Anytime you can promote from within, you should, if it's or if it makes sense.
Definitely.
You shouldn't play buddy ball and only promote from within. But if it makes sense, and I think it does in the case of Ben Johnson, some of the best offensive play callers in the league, and I'm sure we got a graphic for that.
Yeah, Mike, you want to throw that graphic up?
That was brought up, and so we wanted to have this conversation. Where would Ben Johnson hopefully fall in this? And here you go. At number 1, according to Pro Football Focus, Andy Reid, who doesn't love that Kansas City offense. Kellen Moore, who has shown that he's a brilliant mind after being a great college quarterback, and now he's with Dallas. Byron Leftwich, another great college quarterback, decent pro, who has showed that he can call some plays. Kyle Shanahan, he just adapts. That's what he does. Sean McVay, Super Bowl winner now. You cannot question what that guy does for an offense. Matt LaFleur, that's a debatable one because Aaron Rodgers was successful before him. Yeah. He's successful during him. He may be successful after him. We'll find out. But LaFleur deserves to be on that list. So, out of 1 to 32, we haven't seen Ben Johnson call plays.
No.
Dan Campbell took over that at the end of last season, but I'm assuming Ben was right there in his pocket, right?
Yeah.
So where do you hope, I guess, Ben winds up on this list or anywhere in the 1 to 32?
Well, Ben Johnson definitely needs to show us. It needs to be something that he goes out there and he does.
Show us.
But I think he can be up there. I think he can be in that top 10, that upper echelon of play callers in the NFL because he brings this young mind. He brings an expansive knowledge of the offensive repertoire that the Lions have and the offensive repertoire that succeeds in the NFL. well. So he's going to put these guys in the best situation for them to succeed. He knows what he has in Jared Goff. He knows what he has in his skill positions. Obviously, we've talked about the Lions wide receiving core being night and day from what it was last year. Now you have the emergence of an Amon-Ra St. Brown. You grab a DJ Chark. You grab a Jamison Williams. You have TJ Hawkinson on a contract year. You've got a Josh Reynolds, a Quintez Cephas, a Khalif Raymond. Even these guys that are on the lower end of this receiving core can be good players. So I think Ben Johnson has a lot of weapons to work with. He's got a lot of different things he can do with this offense. I expect him to bring a very exciting, a very fast-paced offense. They were talking about running the no huddle a lot more because that's what Goff is good at, where he doesn't have to really think about it too much. It's just a boom, boom, boom. You make the read, it goes there. I talked about this a while back about the high lows, and that's what I like is with Jared Goff, is with these guys, you can have, Jamison Williams, DJ Chark running high cutting
go routes.
Yeah, just go routes
right.
or high attacking routes. And then you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, TJ Hawkinson running these low routes, these 5-yard, 7-yard outs, different little slants like that. And that is a one-read thing for Jared Goff. Right. If the safety goes over top, you throw it down low. If the linebacker comes up, you throw it over top. So
and you have your safety valve with Swift over there in the flat if you need him. Right?
Exactly. Yep. You can just dump it down to him whenever you need him. So I think this offense, we saw what he did with Amon-Ra doing that Deebo Samuel-esque role, running the ball out of the backfield. I think Ben Johnson is going to do that a lot more. He's going to bring a lot of creativity and explosiveness to this offense, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited too. A lot of my excitement, though, comes from the mystery, right?
Yes.
Because we don't exactly know the type of offense he's going to run. And if you watch all the games last year, our offense was all over the damn place. Mm-hmm. There were some games where we threw the kitchen sink at him and did all types of crazy stuff. There were other games where we were probably a little too conservative. And obviously, the first half of the season with a different offensive coordinator, that philosophy's gone. But even watching Dan Campbell evolve as an offensive play caller.
Yes.
We don't really have an identity yet with what we're going to be. Are we going to be up-tempo? And I'm glad you've heard that because I haven't heard that yet. Yeah. I'm glad we're going to be up-tempo. I'm glad we're going to have some rhythm about us. It's just, if you don't have the talent to support that, you're 3 and out very fast. And that scares me. You put your defense in a very awkward position. So I'm going to be reserved on this. If he can even crack the top 20, maybe top 15 this year as far as play calling, be average, I think that's a step forward for the Lions.
Definitely.
Because the past, 4 years, we haven't even been average. We've been well below average on everything. We have the number 3 offensive line in the league, according to Pro Football Focus, and that's only been climbing. At first it was 6, then it was 5, now it's 3. Yeah. So we have that, which to me, that'll dictate a lot. We can be a run-first team, and we haven't been able to be that. When's the last time we've been a run-first team besides Barry Sanders?
Ever. Never.
Not in your lifetime.
Yeah, no, never. Even when we had, Reggie Bush and Joique Bell, we're on the cannon arm of Matthew Stafford.
Right.
And now like you said, they want to be a run-first team. That's what Dan Campbell likes. That's what he wants to establish is that strong running game behind these huge offensive linemen we have. And our running back room is good. We've got deep. At the top, we have DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, who are great running backs. And then even, Godwin Igwebuike, Craig Reynolds, Jamar Jefferson. These
don't forget about Jefferson. Yeah. Before Jefferson got hurt last year, I was a big fan of him, especially in a zone running scheme. When that guy plants his foot and gets upfield, Jefferson's no joke.
Definitely. And I don't know if it says more to the offensive line that these guys just came out of nowhere, literally off the couch in Craig Reynolds' position and just ran for you remember how long we were waiting for a 100-yard rusher in a game?
No, I remember the meme that came out. We hung a banner because we had a 100-yard rusher. It's like, Lions did it, 100-yard rusher.
And then we had 3 of them last year. So it's impressive to see it. It's like you said, we saw Dan Campbell improve as a play caller. We didn't have it with Anthony Lynn. He was supposed to come in here and be this offensive guy, this whisperer, and change the offense. Didn't work out. Now we've got that kind of youth invasion. That's what's taking the NFL by storm. Like you saw that list, the Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, I almost called him Peter LaFleur, and Kyle Shanahan, these young guys that are coming in and they know what to do. They bring new schemes to the offense. So I'm excited. A whole year of Ben Johnson getting these guys in there, making them feel comfortable in his offense, and we'll see what happens.
How much do you think Dan Campbell's going to be involved in the play calling this year?
I think he's gonna have a heavy say in it. It's gonna be, because I think even last year, it's eventually up to Dan Campbell. If like, all right, that didn't work. No, this is what we're gonna do. But I do think he's gonna let Ben Johnson dictate a lot of what plays we're running in what situations and when, because I think that's a bigger role than really play calling per se in the game. I think it's when you have that scheme of a week, if it's second and short, here are the plays that we want to do or something we want to do. If it's third and long, here's where we want to go. We obviously want to run the ball on first down and stuff like that. So I think the specific play calling aspect of it isn't as important as the scheme or the offensive, ideology that week.
Yeah, the one thing I love about Dan Campbell, too, and I hope this trickles down to Ben Johnson, is analytics are awesome. It's a part of sports, but you could tell Dan Campbell does a lot of things from feel in his heart. And I love that coaching style because there's a lot of things robots can't predict, right? They can't read the room. They don't know about momentum. All they know is stats on paper. And when people are so deep into analytics, sometimes you rely on that instead of actually being a coach.
And you love Dan Campbell out there on the sideline. F it, we're going for it on fourth down, baby. Let's do it. Line them up.
Let's see. Analytics say we'll get it 20% of the time. Screw it. I feel like we're going to get it.
We're going for it. You need that. You need that sometimes.
Well, it sends a message to your players, too, that you're going to look at them in the eye and understand, listen, you told me you can get 2 yards. Yeah. You're looking at me right now. Stats say you can't. Are you going to get this 2 yards? That motivation is something a computer can never, ever, ever capture. So I love analytics. The numbers are important, but vibe and feel is such an important thing. For sure. In any walk of life, not just football. I'm talking everything in life. And you know what else is important? Yeah. Looking damn good.
Looking damn good is very important. And as you know, we broadcast this show live from the headquarters of Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Birmingham. They've been trying to get me in that chair since my first day at Woodward Sports. And if I need a trim, if I want to take these dead ends off, I'm obviously going to Lady Jane's and going to have my girl Alyssa
throw
or
the
Megan
Alyssa cam up if you have that real quick.
Take care of me and have a good time. They're open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime, walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. So get to Lady Jane's. Like I said, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime, because at Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Glad that we can finally start trying to get the stigma off of mental health that's been there for all these years.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Welcome back to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing to our YouTube page. Make sure you hit those likes a few more times. We got a bunch of people watching. Hey, you know what I want to do? Because I love our chat, right? I love our chat. But sometimes we got like 500,000 people watching, and the chat's the chat. Yeah. So if you've never put a comment in the chat and you're watching right now, just say hi. You don't have to put your opinion out there, because I know it can be a dangerous snake pit sometimes.
Just put down your social security number and your mother's maiden name.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And Spencer and I will be over very soon. Yeah. No, but for real, I like people that don't always interact with us. I want you to interact a little. Say hi. Let us know that you're there, because it's very important that you're a part of this as well. And like I said, everybody in the chat, I love reading the side conversations that come on from even conversations we're having. Like me and you were talking about Ivey way in the show. They're still talking about, is Ivey big enough to play in the NBA? Yeah. So maybe we talk about that as the last topic of the day. Yeah. But let's stay on the Lions for right now, okay? You put this in the prep, and it made me think. Because I think you may be right.
Yeah.
Was the 2014 Detroit Lions team the most complete Lions team that we have seen? Period.
Yeah.
And you're talking more than the only one you can really argue with is the 91 team because they won a playoff game.
Yes.
A playoff game.
Yes.
Why do you feel 2014 was the most complete?
I think it was the most complete because we had pretty much, great performances in all assets of the game. We had Matthew Stafford, coming into his prime, showing he can be that guy. We had Golden Tate and Megatron. We had Reggie Bush and Joy Bell. We had a defense, too. That defense with DeAndre Levy playing at an insane level. Look at that guy. DeAndre Levy, Ndamukong Suh, Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson.
Not one of those guys.
It's these guys are monsters.
Right.
And we had a great defense. This is one of the best defenses we've had in a long time, was the 2014. We had Darius Slay. We had Glover Quinn. We had those guys out there making plays. DeAndre Levy, I'm pretty sure, led the NFL in interceptions or was around the top of the NFL in interceptions. And it was the most complete team I've ever seen the Detroit Lions produce, for sure.
Yeah, that was a weird year to be a Lions fan because we had a football team. And, it was honestly weird to wake up every Sunday thinking we were going to win game that we were in.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, the defense was out of control. And Ndamukong Suh, who we were talking earlier about villains, and somebody brought that up in the chat. And Ndamukong Suh was probably the last major villain that I can remember. The league hated him.
Stomping on Aaron Rodgers.
Dietrich Smith stomping on that guy, throwing Aaron Rodgers to the ground, throwing Jay Cutler around like a rag doll in a preseason game.
Amazing.
I loved that attitude, and we've talked about this before. Whenever Detroit teams are like that, just badasses and the dark hole of the league, that's when we're winning.
Yes.
When we're trying to be nice guys and play pity patter with everybody, we suck, dude. When we have nice guys leading the Pistons, we suck.
Yeah.
When we have badasses like Ndamukong Suh, Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, Darren McCarty on the Red Wings, we need those badass players here, and that was one thing, the calling card of that 2014 defense. I believe they were number 2 in the league by the time the year ended.
Yeah.
And I had never seen that before. I have never seen us hit so hard, beat the hell out of people on a mission. And it's part of the reason why I really, really miss Jim Caldwell.
Yes.
Because I associate him with a lot of that because he allowed grown-ass men to go out there and be grown-ass men. And Ndamukong Suh, you're an ass. That's fine. You're our ass.
Go be
we
an ass.
love you.
Yeah.
Go stomp on people. We got your back. And I always talk about galvanizing a team when I know that you're a dick.
Yeah.
But you're my dick. I'm protecting you. I protect my dick. And that's what we all have to do.
Gotta protect your dick.
Gotta protect your dick in this game, man. And we all need one. And the bigger ours is, the better we do. And I'm speaking in metaphor here, people.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. You gotta have a big dick. You gotta put it on the table. You gotta protect it. This is why we are BDE. This is Big D Energy for a reason.
Protect us at all costs.
Protect us. No, but you're so right.
Yeah, I'm joking, but I'm serious.
You're serious, and you're right because that you see Dan Campbell doing that now. You see him letting guys be who they are.
Right.
Letting guys go out there and attack people, biting kneecaps. Doing the double shots, being who you are as a person and not being sorry for it. So we had that, like you said, with Ndamukong Suh, with Nick Fairley, maybe to a fault with Nick Fairley. Maybe we should have reined him in a little bit, but it was it was part of what made us great,
Yeah, listen, you can't. It's tough to wrangle those guys in because you don't want to take that edge away from them in any single capacity. You want them to play borderline psychopaths,
especially defensive line. Playing defense, I used to
and
love
offensive line
playing defensive line.
Right.
Yeah, but offensive line, you got to be a little technical with it because you can't grab. Defensive line, you can damn near do whatever you want. You can go out there, you can slap hands, you can slap heads, you can punch people, like slap hands. Slap hands. So you need these monsters, these angry dudes on the defensive line, these dogs out there. Yeah. And that's what I love. That's why I loved playing defensive line so much, because you can go out there and basically do whatever. It's the trenches. Like, you're in there to attack, and rip off a quarterback's head at the end of the day. So
yeah, and you can't take that away. I love this comment. I think it's Ryak. Back when Cabrera was getting drunk and fighting cops, the Tigers were winning.
Yes. Back when Avicio Garcia was banging Prince Fielder's wife, the Tigers were winning, baby.
Well, see, you need that, man.
You need it. You gotta spice it up, man.
Well, you think Bad Boys, Isaiah Thomas punched Bill Laimbeer in practice.
Yes.
Like, it broke his face.
Yeah, they build off of it. It brings you, I mean, obviously, the Avicio Garcia thing aside, it brings you closer as a team, you know, and it endears you to these guys.
When you have the right people in place, right?
Yes.
Because they know that, hey, we're fighting, but we're fighting for greatness. We're not fighting each other. We're fighting to get to a place neither of us have been.
Yeah.
So we need to turn it up a notch and become different people. Sam, I see you want to get involved in this conversation. What you thinking over there?
Oh, that 2014 team was incredible. It's such a shame that they lost in the first round of the in the wild card round, but by questionable circumstances. But that's beside the point.
Bullshit, Sam.
You know what? That's okay, and I will allow that, even though I have to bleep it out. I approve. But no, that team was absurdly talented. It wasn't even just their attitude. I mean, Golden Tate had the best season of his life. And they had Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson had an 1,000-yard season, and Golden Tate had more receiving yards that year than Calvin Johnson. And Ndamukong Suh, he was still on the team, and he was a guy from the second he stepped on the field was the best defensive tackle in football. You had guys like Glover Quinn, you know, DeAndre Levy, just absurdly talented everywhere. I would say probably their weakest. When Joique Bell leads your team in rushing, I know I'm kind of that guy, but that's not good. But they were still a good team, and I honestly think
I love Sam. Like, first of all, you talk trash to D-Mac, and if Joique was sitting here right now, he'd say that right to his face.
Oh,
like, listen,
sure.
You were the weakest part of that team, bro.
He's got to know it, though. But honestly, when you
he's got to know it, though, and he doubles down.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. I'll give him that.
And another thing about that team, I don't know if Stafford did enough. That wasn't one of his better seasons. I mean, he got them to the playoffs, and, you know, he had a decent season, but...
And that's the knock on the, hey, you know, that penalty was bad, but we still had 5 minutes left in the game. Stafford got the ball back twice. We shanked a punt out of bounds. So, listen, we can blame bad calls all you want, but you know what happens when bad calls happen? You play through it and you overcome. That's what champions do.
They had 6 points in the last 3 quarters. But just a side note, and I know we can all agree with this, very few things have enraged me more in sports than the fact that after that pass interference call was made, Dez Bryant went on the field without his helmet.
That is the truth. Yes.
And ever since then, I have just despised Dez Bryant.
Even if that's not, even if you don't call that pass interference, which there's no way you shouldn't, you gotta call that flag on Dez Bryant.
That's part of it,
like,
right?
Yeah, that is insane.
Rules is rules,
yes,
as I like to say. But you know, Dez Bryant got his karma. He's got his karma the next week with that juggling non-touchdown.
Yeah, and didn't catch it, Dallas.
That is unbelievable how that worked out that way. That is, I mean, karmic justice. It just has a funny way of working out. And no, that was not a catch by the rule of the law. Suck it, Dez Bryant.
That was a catch. That was clearly a catch. But whatever. No, it was not a catch, and it
dropped it.
Did not go down in history as a catch. The summer of Cintron is here, and look at that. They got sparkly, delicious cranberry classic, and also sugar-free for you to enjoy.
Get some
also have
Cintron
water,
in life.
and they also have some health drinks too that you can order. And some of them are available right now at Kroger. Pick up 2 cans for just $4 at participating locations. Cintron is a proud sponsor of the Pistons, Red Wings, Tigers, and DCFC. We're good, Gentry.
Everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG. You know what I love about Detroit? Besides everything, we do cool things like this in the summertime. The Bedrock Midway is here, the Monroe Street Midway. They got roller skating down there, a mini golf course, food trucks, live music, performance, art, pretty much all that Detroit is in one parking lot. So make sure you go check it out. They turn an abandoned parking lot into something awesome, because that's what we do here in Detroit. We make things better. So make sure you go check it out today, tomorrow, on the weekend. It's downtown Detroit, and make sure you go check out the Monroe Street Midway.
Check it out.
Check it out. Welcome back. Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for hanging out today, and shout out to all the new people who dropped their name in the chat. I saw you. We were having an in-depth discussion during that time, but I appreciate you guys getting in on this conversation. We really appreciate you, not only for the likes, but engaging and letting your friends know too, because that's how this thing has grown. It's word of mouth. Woodward Sports started about 1.5 years ago. And now you see it on draft nights. You see it when any big sports moment happens in Detroit, that we have become the voice of the people.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we wanted to be here. We didn't want to sit up here and bash the teams constantly. We wanted to create, I don't want to say a safe space because that makes it sound so soft and weak, but a place where I could actually sit down with Spencer, we could have a disagreement, but not trash our team at the same time. Hey, the Tigers suck right now. We all know that. We're not going to pile on the Tigers. We're going to point out that Riley Greene may be good. Baez is coming around. I like that type of angle rather than it sucks, we're the worst. I love my New York teams. I don't like that.
And that's what made me want to come be a part of Woodward Sports. I saw it. I came out and I found you guys at that Big Boy, and I tracked you down. I was literally talking to Adam for 2 weeks, setting up interviews, things where he's a busy guy, so things weren't working out. And then I saw you guys broadcasting live from Big Boy. I was working from home at the time for a community foundation in Dearborn, and that Big Boy was 1.5 miles from my house. And so I called my boss and I was like, "Hey, I'm going on lunch." And I went down there and I was like, "Hey man, I'm here. Let me get this interview."
Who'd you first meet?
Adam.
Adam was the first person. That was your first introduction to Woodward Sports.
I sat down with Adam at the Big Boy, and we talked about it. And then, I think Big D was on at the time when I walked in there, because it was Art and D-Mac were there, and they were all talking, and so it was just cool. And then I came in, and they brought me in the next week, and I came in and I shadowed, and then I was on the job. And I saw the camaraderie. I saw we're Detroit fans, and we want to express that. We don't want to, we're obviously going to have the guys that bring the facts, bring the statistics, bring everything, but we want to show the people that we're here for them, and that's what I loved. And I brought in, and we've been rolling ever since, and I love it. And it's just awesome.
Well, we love having you a part of this, man. Opening day when you got up on stage trying to pound a bottle of champagne and it's squirting everywhere. That's honestly, when I think Spencer Raxter, that's what I think of.
That was awesome, dude. I signed 2 autographs that day. I was in pictures. This black girl came up and kissed me on the cheek. She's like, "Nah, you've been kissed by a black girl before." I was like, "I've done more than kiss a black girl." I'll tell you right now. But it was just a cool experience, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, we appreciate all the love when we're out and about too, because that's another thing that I think we do better than anybody else in the city. We're out in the people.
Yeah.
With the D-Mac doing the rival thing at Fifth Avenue, he's out there, he's shaking hands. That was open if you bought a ticket to everybody that wanted to come. We do live broadcasts at events, post games, pre games, We like sports, but we also like to party here at Woodward Sports.
Sure.
So thank you guys for partying with us. Now going on 1.5 years, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm so happy to be a part of it. All the great people, even since I've been here, that we've brought in. Mike and Sam Flannel and all these guys, bringing it in the bag. Ryan Lentz, Sean, the whole Woodward Pistons thing's getting going. The Woodward Tigers thing's getting going. It's just big things coming from the Woodward Sports Network. I'm so happy to be a part of it. Yeah, I remember, like you said, I was watching watching you guys from the beginning. You know, watching you guys when you just started out, and so happy to be a part of it.
It was just me and Anson on my couch.
Yeah. ASMR Adam.
ASMR Adam, yeah. For anybody who wants to laugh, like the Adam that is on the Woodward Sports Morning Show now is a complete 180 than the Adam when he first cracked a mic.
Yeah.
Like everybody in the chat used to say he was talking too quiet. Adam, speak up. Adam, we do not have that problem anymore.
No.
We almost have to calm him down, but it's awesome to see.
He came out of his shell.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. And, you know, he's great.
And that's who he is.
Yeah.
That's who Adam Beydoun is.
If
like,
you
it's
get to
not
know
a front.
him. If you get to know him.
Yeah.
Like, because I knew Adam a couple years before we came here and did this. And, you know, he's a different cat. And God bless him. You love him. And it's fun to watch Adam do his thing in the morning.
For sure.
Make sure you're tuning in to all of our shows. We got the Morning Woodward Show every morning, 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. Obviously, Big D Energy right here, 11 to 1. And then, of course, the boys of the bottom line, Maz, Braylon Edwards, Ryan Ermani on from 2 to 4. And, of course, Woodward Bets at 4:30. You just got a lot of stuff going on. So thank you guys for being a part of it. Thank you for being here from the beginning. And, yeah, just keep liking, keep sharing, keep spreading the word. And we'll be here talking Detroit sports. And whenever we get a championship, believe me, the Woodward Sports Party will absolutely burn down this entire city.
We're blowing the roof off.
Yeah.
And make sure you guys come back tomorrow because D-Mac's going to be back. Neil Rule is going to be back. They're going to go into a deep dive on that E60, on that unrivaled stuff. We're going to talk about our boy Josh Parisian. You saw we had him on last week. He won his fight. He got a $50K bonus for his performance of the night. So a lot of great stuff tomorrow. Make sure you guys tune in.
And Spence, this is our first time doing a show together.
It was awesome.
It was fun, man.
It was a lot of fun.
Love talking to you. So you guys have a great day. Enjoy your Monday. Have some fun. Have some Cintron. Have some Gypsy vodka. And, call it a good Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Peace.